Pulling out onto beautiful Lake Norman. What's going on, everybody? We're back here in beautiful North Carolina, and I've got another video for you today. We're going to talk about storage. We're going to talk about a boat lift or a car lift storage for an exterior garage, and how I fit my my truck, my boat, my motorcycle, how I fit it all into one garage, how you can do it, some of the pitfalls, some of the costs, and some things to look out for. And you can do it yourself. I did it myself. We'll talk about that. So we're going to turn this around, and we're going to take a look at the garage, and we're going to go over everything, and I'm going to talk about it. The first thing is going to be a walkthrough. The second thing will be functionality, and the third will be kind of price and how you're going to get it done. All right, stay tuned. Okay, here's that exterior garage. As you can see, it's not attached to the main house. When we built the house about 4 years ago now, we wanted this exterior garage, and I always had the idea of having a lift out here in the exterior garage, and so we kind of built this accordingly, and we'll talk about the specs as we walk in. But as you walk into the garage, we've got the GMC Canyon pulled out. By the way, don't forget about my videos on the GMC Canyon and the modifications, the amplifier and everything else. They're great videos. Anyway, we'll walk into the garage. You can kind of see here what this looks like. If you look at the ceilings, we've got basically an 11.5 foot, almost 12 foot ceilings in this garage, and it was built a little bit higher, obviously, so we could accommodate a lift, and so we could accommodate putting something on top of the lift and still getting a truck or a car inside the garage. But again, you can kind of see how this was designed. The first thing we're going to look at the front of the garage is the garage door opener, and that's going to be a side mount garage door opener by LiftMaster. And the key to that is, if you look over here, we don't have a garage door opener coming down or dropping down off the ceiling, which gives you another 1.5 to 2 feet of clearance when you put in your lift, and that accommodates the boat. As you can see, the boat can almost go all the way up to the top of the garage, which is why that LiftMaster is key if you're going to do a project like this. And now if we look around, we come down to basically a 6-gallon, 150 psi air compressor, and that air compressor serves two things. Obviously, I can use it as an air compressor, but you can see that it's got two outputs coming off of it. One of those is a line that's going to be rounded up and around behind the garage, and that line comes all the way down, drops down from the ceiling here, and comes right into the lift, which provides the locks, the ability to unlock and lock the locks. So that's why the air compressor is there, mainly for that. You're going to kind of need one for your lift. So again, I decided to mount my air compressor over here because I think it's out of the way. Built a little stand that it sits on. It serves me quite well for that purpose. If we move down even further on the front of the garage, you're going to see basically the platforms that go on the front of the lift, obviously, that allow you to pull your trailers up and on the lift over the little lip when the lift is down. And I'll show you the lift down in a minute. But again, the flooring was put in. This is basically flooring from Lowe's. It's very inexpensive compared to some of the epoxy floorings and some of the other flooring systems you'll see in the garage. I like it because it's gray, it's pretty durable, waterproof, so I don't have any problems with that. When you walk to the rear of the garage, you're going to see kind of these two platforms here. I needed something to work on in the garage, so these come in quite handy. And you can see how they lift up, and they kind of go around the post, but they just lock into place here. And basically underneath, you've just got some pop, basically folding mechanisms that allow these to come up and down. This one acts as the same. And again, it just gives me some more storage in the garage and some more space to set stuff on if I'm working in the garage. So these brackets can be found at almost any hardware store or online at Amazon. And again, they work great for folding stuff and getting stuff out of the way, and they work great for these kind of folding desks or folding workbenches that I have inside the garage. As we move back here, mainly, these are just outlets that we installed in the garage. And then obviously the rest of the garage, that's the boat that you see up here. So I've got a little picture of the boat. I think it's kind of nice. It adds a little touch to it. And then we have the lift. So we'll talk about the lift a little bit. The lift, kind of the details of the lift. The maximum here is 7,500 pounds. Lifting capacity. It's a Bendpak lift. Obviously you can see over here. Above ground lift, Bendpak. It's a 4-post lift. This lift actually was meant for either cars or boats. And the big deal about the lift is these tracks here. You can move the tracks over to accommodate the wheel width of a car, or you can move them over to accommodate the wheel width of a trailer. So that's the big deal with this Bendpak lift, is I can move it back and forth. If I want to use it as a car lift, I can. Right now I use it as a storage lift for my boat, which is that Hallett 2110 open bow, and we'll have another video on the Hallett coming up too. But anyway, that's kind of the Bendpak. This is the operating system over here, the Bendpak. It's pretty simple. Hydraulic actuated. Obviously you're going to need like a 220 volt outlet to run this. They do have 110 volt outlets, but the 110 volt outlets are a lot less, they don't go up and down as fast, so you got to kind of stand there and wait for the lift to come up and down. I already had 220 in the garage, so I chose the 220 lift, and we'll talk about how the lift works in a minute. But that's kind of how the garage was designed. A little better look around. And I have a lot of room still in this garage for my motorcycle back here. So I can fit that. I've got some garden stuff in here. I've got an aerator. We've got our engine hoist over there. And I've got an engine lift over there. So I can still fit all this stuff in here. And by the way, those are those Denali steps that were in my other video as far as the Denali modifications. Yeah, I don't like those. And you know what? I'm offering them to anybody free. You guys want to come pick them up? You guys can come have those Denali steps for free. I'd like to get them out of my garage. So anybody in North Carolina watching this video that wants those Denali steps, they're brand new, came off of that 2023 Canyon GMC Denali. Those are yours, okay? Any member who wants to contact me and come pick them up, you can have those free of charge. Anyway, we'll talk a little bit more about the lift functionality next. Okay, we're back here looking at the functionality of the lift and what that looks like with the lift down. So basically with these Bendpak lifts, you should let the lift sit on the locking mechanisms, which are in here. And I'll try to let you see up in there. But if you can kind of see up in there, and I'll add some light. If you look up in there, there's a little locking mechanism that sits on that rail, and it sits inside here, these grooves, that you set it down on, and then it rests on those, which basically locks the lift and makes it secure, so you can rest assured it's not going to fall on something because it's resting on the hydraulic cables instead of the actual lift. Basically safety blocks inside there. So again, you want to go around and make sure that all those are locked, but to get the lift to work, you got to get them off the blocks. So we're going to hit the up button. And you hear it go up. That takes the lift off. Now to get, we talked about the air compressor before. You got to use the air compressor. I've got a remote control here for my air compressor, and we're just going to go on with it. Okay, we're going to go ahead and lower the lift now. We've charged up the air system for the lift, and to kind of disengage those air locks, what we got to do is we're going to push on the handle here. We're going to raise that, or actually we're going to push on the button here. Raise the lift a little bit. Okay, now that it's off of those locks, we're going to hit the button here, which is going to release the locks. You're going to hear it click, and now the locks are released. Now we can come down here back to the handle and lower the lift. And you'll see I had to stop there. Didn't actually get my motorcycle out of the way. Could be a problem. So we'll push the motorcycle a little out of the way. I'll be right back with you. All right, the motorcycle's out of the way. We'll finish dropping it. Click those locks again, and here we go all the way down. All right, the boat's rested on the ground. You can kind of see how everything looks. Talk a little bit about how easy it is to pull it on and off the ramp here. Those little yellow ramps we talked about earlier, they go right here, and they just allow you to pull the trailer up onto the lift a little easier. I only use them every once in a while, actually, because this lip is kind of very shallow, and it's no problem to push the trailer up over that lip. But those are what those yellow platforms are. I store them over there for the lift. And once in a while I'll use them to push the boat back up on the lift. Pulling the boat off is no problem without the ramps. I use the jack stands here just to support the trailer in the front, and that little plate actually comes with this lift so that you can put a tongue wheel down there or anything for your trailer, and that's actually meant for boats. And again, that comes with the lift, the boat lift from Bendpak. All right, to raise the lift, it's pretty easy. We're going to go ahead and raise it again. We're just going to hit the power button here, and that's going to lift the boat back up. You can hear those locks clicking. Those are the safety locks. Every time it goes over one of those grooves, the safety locks engage. And that's just to prevent the lift from falling down. If it were to lose power and drop, those safety locks would engage. All right, we've got the lift at the very top here. You can see by the camera. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to drop that lift a little bit, and those safety locks will engage, and then you can set the lift on those locks. And there you go. The tension's off of the hydraulic system at this point, and we're good to go. The lift is up. All right, guys, we're going to pull into the garage. I'll show you what this looks like, kind of room with the lift and everything, and all the extra room we have in the garage. Remember, the garage is about 30 feet deep, about 11.5 feet tall, so gives me plenty of clearance. And it's kind of interesting when you pull in, because you're looking at the top of the boat the first time and you're like, oh my gosh, this boat's sitting right on top of the car. Kind of really is sitting right on top of the car. But I will tell you, the best thing I ever did for space and just the ability to park my truck in here and get everything in here, it works out great. But you can see that kind of eerie when you're looking at the bottom of the boat when you pull in. Anyway, that's the exterior garage. So this video was kind of a Bendpak review on this boat lift, and kind of also showing you how I utilize this boat lift in this exterior garage or unattached garage from the house. As far as cost goes, everybody can see the cost of the lift on the Bendpak site. Sometimes you can get that a little bit cheaper depending on the time of year, or if you go through a secondary vendor. But when you talk about storage and you talk about what you pay for the lift, and if you do it yourself, it's actually quite reasonable. Anybody can put a lift like this in their garage. Like I said, the lift was delivered basically right out here on my driveway. From there, I had to use kind of like a furniture dolly to move most of the pieces back inside the garage. And then I had to have a friend help me with these pieces to assemble the lift. Bendpak actually gives you really good directions, and there's a whole bunch of videos online that you can watch to assemble this lift. And I'm here again, I've kind of told you this with some of my other videos. If you dig into it and you do your research and you watch the videos, it's definitely a project that you can do in your own time, in your spare time, in your garage. And you don't need 12-foot ceilings or 11.5-foot ceilings to put this in. I mean, if you have a lower car and you just want to use it as a car lift, you can do that. I chose this lift obviously because I had the boat and I live on a lake. But again, it's something you can do. The financial part of it, I mean, I don't think is that great for what you get out of it. When you talk about storing a boat inside of a storage yard or storing a boat somewhere else, you're going to pay monthly, and you know, over the course of a year or two, you're going to pay for this lift anyway. So that was the reason I did it. Also, my HOA is absolutely horrible. They don't let me park my boat on the driveway, which is completely stupid. Because if you look over there, that's the lake. So I live literally within a stone's throw of Lake Norman as we walk out here, and that's actually my brother's house on the water right there. So when you look across the lake, you know, I have a dock down there that I can put the boat on for parts of the year. I don't leave it in the water. But again, the HOA is absolutely stupid here because you own a boat and you can't even leave it on your driveway for longer than a day. But anyway, that's enough on HOAs. If you have any questions on the lift, if you have any questions of how I put the garage together or some of the dimensions, let me know in the comments. And as always, guys, I've got more great, interesting videos coming on kind of an interesting life in North Carolina. So feel free to reach out to me. And again, don't forget about those steps. First person here gets those free Denali Canyon brand new steps.